I transferred those $2 million from my mother-in-law to my account. Now I can finally buy my apartment." Veronica shouted those words in the middle of the barbecue, holding a glass of white wine in her hand, as if she were announcing the greatest achievement of her life. My son, Connor, was smiling beside her. Proud, complicit, her family applauded. Linda, her mother, hugged her with excitement. And I, sitting on the other side of the patio table, felt the world stop. That money was not hers. That $2 million was my grandmother's inheritance. The antique jewelry she had guarded all her life. The small property she left us with so much love. I sold it all to open the clothing boutique that Emily, my daughter, dreamed of owning. But Connor convinced me to keep it in his account for safety. And now Veronica was announcing it as if it were hers. I felt a terrible tightness in my chest. My hands trembled. I looked at Emily. She was motionless. Her face showed no surprise, only a cold rage that I knew well. Because she had been ignored too. She had been cast aside, and in that moment, something changed in her eyes. She stood up from her chair slowly. Everyone turned to look at her, and I knew that what was coming would not be a simple family argument. But let me tell you how we got here. Because this story did not start today. It started 2 years ago, when my grandmother passed away and left me the only valuable thing she had. I am Patricia. I am 65 years old. I worked all my life as an elementary school teacher. I raised Connor and Emily alone after my husband died in a car accident when they were little. I had no luxuries. I had no vacations. I barely had any rest. But I got them through. Connor became an engineer. Emily studied fashion design. Both were my pride. Until Connor met Veronica. She was pretty, self-assured, always well-dressed. She came from a family with money, or so it seemed. Linda, her mother, bragged about trips and expensive brands. When Connor told me he was going to marry her, I just wanted him to be happy. I did not see the signs. I did not want to see them. My grandmother Rose died, leaving me her entire estate. $2 million between antique gold jewelry, rings with precious stones, and a small farmhouse upstate that had belonged to our family for generations. I did not need that money for myself. I was already close to retiring. I lived in a modest condo that I had already paid off. What I wanted was to help my children. Emily always dreamed of having her own boutique. She designed beautiful clothes. She had talent, but she never had the capital to start. I promised her that with that inheritance, she could finally open her store. She cried with happiness when I told her. We started making plans. We looked for commercial spaces. She drew sketches of how everything would be. We talked about names for the boutique. It was weeks of pure hope. Until Connor appeared at my house one afternoon with Veronica. They brought pastries and Starbucks coffee. They seemed happy, but there was something weird about their smiles. Connor sat in front of me in the living room. Veronica remained standing, looking at the photos on the wall. My son took my hand affectionately. "Mom," he said to me, "I need to talk to you about something important. You know that Veronica and I want to buy an apartment. We have been looking for months. We found a perfect one. But we need to put together more money for the down payment. The banks are being difficult. Interest rates are sky high." I nodded, not yet understanding where he was going with this. He continued, "I know you have Grandma's money saved. I know it is for Emily. But I thought maybe you could lend it to me for a few months. Just until I get a better loan approval. I would put it in a secure investment that a friend recommended to me. In 6 months I will pay you back with interest, and that way you would have even more money for Emily's store." Veronica turned and smiled at me. "Patricia, you know that we would never let you down. Connor is your son. You can trust us. Besides, Emily does not have everything ready to open the store yet. She can wait a little longer, right?" I stayed quiet. Something inside me screamed to say no, but he was my son, my Connor. The boy I carried in my arms, the one who hugged me when he had nightmares, the one who promised to always take care of me. How was I going to distrust him? I looked at Veronica. She kept smiling, a perfect smile. Too perfect. I told him I needed to think about it. Connor insisted. "Mom, it is only for 6 months. I will sign a document if you want. But I need you to trust me," Veronica added. "We are not like other people, Patricia. We are family. Family helps each other. And you know that Connor has always been responsible." I felt pressure. I felt guilt. I felt that if I said no, I would be the bad mother, the one who does not support her child, the one who distrusts. So I accepted. I told them yes, that they could use the money for 6 months, but that afterwards they had to return it in full because it was for Emily. Connor hugged me tight. Veronica gave me a kiss on the cheek. Thank you, mother-in-law. You will not regret it. You are an angel. When they left, I remained seated in the living room with a knot in my stomach. I called Emily that night. I explained the situation to her. She remained in silence for a long moment. Then she said, "Mom, are you sure about this?" I answered yes, that I trusted Connor, that it was only 6 months. Emily sighed. "It is okay, Mom. I will wait." But something in her voice told me that she knew something I did not want to see. The first 3 months were full of excuses. Connor called me every week. "Mom, the investment is going very well. Soon I will return everything to you." Or he wrote me text messages. "Mom, there was a delay with the bank paperwork. Give me a little more time." Veronica invited me for coffee. She always paid. She always told me how grateful she was. "Patricia, you do not know what it means for us to have your support. Connor and I are so close to fulfilling our dream." I wanted to believe them. I needed to believe them. But every time I saw Emily, I felt shame. She never reproached me. She never made me feel bad. She just kept designing her clothes, storing them in boxes, waiting. She worked at a department store to pay her bills. She came home tired, and I knew that the money that should be helping her was in Connor's hands, in Veronica's hands, and I did not know when it would return. By the 4th month, things changed. Veronica began to upload photos to her social media. Photos in expensive restaurants, photos with luxury brand bags, photos at a spa, photos on a trip to the beach. I saw those posts and felt that something did not add up. If they were saving money for an apartment, why were they spending so much? I asked Connor. He laughed. "Mom, that is from Veronica's savings. She works. She has the right to treat herself. Your money is intact. Do not worry." But I did worry. I called Emily. I told her what I was seeing. She sighed with exhaustion. "Mom, I told you from the beginning. Veronica is not going to return that money. She is spending it. And Connor is letting her." I got angry. "Do not talk like that about your brother. He would not do that." Emily fell silent. Then she said something that hurt me. "Mom, you have always defended Connor more than me. Since we were kids. I have worked hard all my life. I never asked you for anything. And now that you were finally going to help me, you gave everything to him." She hung up. I stayed with the phone in my hand, crying. Because deep down I knew she was right. By the 5th month, Connor stopped answering my calls. I wrote him messages. He read them, but did not reply. When I finally reached him by phone, he sounded irritated. "Mom, enough already. I told you I am going to return the money, but I need you to stop pressuring me. I am working on something big. Trust me." I asked him if I could at least see some document of the investment, some proof that the money was safe. He got upset. "Now you distrust me? I am your son. What kind of mother does that?" I felt terrible, small, guilty. I apologized. "Connor, I did not mean to offend you. I am just worried." He softened his voice. "I know, Mom, but everything is fine. I promise." He hung up quickly. Veronica stopped inviting me for coffee. She stopped answering my messages. When I saw her at family gatherings, she was polite but distant, as if I were a problem she preferred to avoid. By the 6th month, the deadline arrived. It was the moment when Connor had to return the money to me. I went to his house. I rang the doorbell. Veronica opened the door. She was wearing a new coral-colored dress, expensive heels, her hair freshly styled at the salon. "Oh, Patricia, I did not know you were coming. You should have called." I told her I needed to talk to Connor. She let me in reluctantly. The house was impeccable. New furniture, a huge television in the living room, decorative art on the walls. Everything screamed money. My money. Connor came down the stairs. He was wearing an expensive dress shirt. He looked uncomfortable seeing me. "Mom, what are you doing here?" I sat on the sofa without being asked. "I came because today marks 6 months. You told me that today you would return the money." Connor and Veronica exchanged glances. He scratched the back of his neck. Mom, there was a change of plans. The investment did not turn out as we expected. I need more time. I felt the blood rushing to my head. More time? Connor, I need that money. It is for Emily, I promised her. Veronica crossed her arms. Patricia, you said it was a loan. Loans sometimes take longer than planned. That is life. It is not the end of the world. I stared at her. It is not the end of the world for you, Veronica, but that money is not mine. It is my daughter's. She has been waiting for months. Connor raised his voice. Mom, Emily can wait a little longer. It is not urgent. She does not even have a solid business plan. It would be irresponsible to give her all that money right now. It is better that I handle it. I stood up. My legs were trembling. You handle it? Connor, where is the money? What did you invest it in? Show me the documents. He avoided my gaze. I do not have to show you anything. You trust me or you do not trust me. Veronica approached. She put a hand on my shoulder with false tenderness. Patricia, I understand that you are worried, but Connor knows what he is doing. He is an engineer. He understands finances. You just have to be patient. I pushed her hand away. Do not talk to me as if I were stupid, Veronica. I saw your photos, the trips, the clothes, the restaurants. You two are spending my money, she laughed. Oh, Patricia, that is from my personal savings. It has nothing to do with your loan. You are imagining things where there are none. Connor intervened. Enough, Mom. You are making a scene. I am going to return the money when I can. Now I need you to leave. We have plans. I looked at him with eyes full of tears. Are you kicking me out of your house? He did not answer. He just opened the door. I left crying. I got into my car. I sat there for half an hour, unable to drive. I could not believe what had just happened. My son, my Connor. He had treated me like a stranger, like a nuisance. That night I called Emily. I told her everything. She did not say I told you so. She did not make me feel worse. She just said, Mom, come to my house. I do not want you to be alone. I went. I spent the night on her sofa. She made me tea. She hugged me. And for the first time in months, I felt supported. The next morning, Emily told me something that changed everything. Mom, I have a lawyer friend. He is an associate with someone trustworthy. We can ask him what options we have. Legally, that money is yours. Connor cannot keep it just like that. I shook my head. I cannot sue my own son. Emily took my hands. Mom, he already sued you. He took away your peace of mind, your money, your trust. And the worst part? He took away your dignity. You need to get it back. Her words hurt me. But she was right. 2 weeks passed before I dared to do anything. 2 weeks in which I barely slept, in which I replayed every conversation with Connor, every promise, every smile from Veronica. I felt stupid, naive, an old fool who let herself be tricked by her own son. Emily insisted every day, Mom, you have to act. Every day that passes, that money vanishes more. I told her yes, but I did nothing. Until one day, I saw another photo of Veronica on social media. She was showing off a very expensive watch, a watch that cost at least $15,000. In the caption, she put a heart emoji and the words, when you work hard, you treat yourself. Work hard. With my money, with the sweat of my grandmother, with Emily's dreams, something broke inside me. I called Emily. Give me that lawyer's number. I am going to fight for what is mine. The lawyer's name was Matthew. He was a man of about 40 years. Serious, but kind. He received us in his office on a Tuesday afternoon. Emily went with me. I brought all the papers I had. My grandmother's will, the receipts from the sale of the jewelry and the property, the text messages with Connor, where he promised to return the money in 6 months. Matthew reviewed everything carefully. He took notes. He asked questions. In the end, he leaned back in his chair and looked me straight in the eyes. Mrs. Patricia, you have a solid case. Your son accepted a loan with a specific deadline. There is written evidence. We can legally demand the return of the money. If he cannot pay, we could place liens on assets, bank accounts, even properties. I felt a chill. Place a lien on my own son? Matthew nodded. I know it is difficult, But you have to understand something. If you do not act now, that money will disappear, and your daughter will lose the opportunity you wanted to give her. I looked at Emily. She took my hand. Mom, I support you in whatever you decide, but think about everything you sacrificed. Think about Grandma. She worked all her life to leave something for her family, not for Veronica to buy herself whims. I took a breath. I told Matthew to go ahead. He prepared a formal letter, a legal notification demanding the immediate return of the $2 million plus interest. The letter arrived at Connor's house 3 days later. He called me that same night. He was furious. Mom, what is this? Are you suing me? Seriously? I tried to stay calm. Connor, I asked you for the money nicely. The deadline passed. You give me no answers. I have no choice, he shouted. I am your son. How can you do this to me? This is a betrayal. I answered him with a firm voice. The betrayal was yours, Connor. You lied to me. You used me. And now you act as if I were the villain. Veronica took the phone. Her voice was poisonous. Patricia, you are making a mistake. This is going to destroy this family. And it is all because of your envious daughter who is manipulating you. I felt rage. Do not bring Emily into this. She has nothing to do with it. This is between Connor and me. Veronica let out a dry laugh. Of course she has to do with it. She has always been jealous of Connor. She always wanted more attention. And now she is using you to get revenge. I hung up the phone. My hands were trembling. Emily hugged me. Do not listen to them, Mom. They are desperate. They know they lost control. Matthew moved forward with the process. He requested a preliminary attachment on Connor's bank accounts while the case was being resolved. The judge approved it. Suddenly, Connor could not freely dispose of his money. Veronica went crazy. She wrote me extremely long text messages full of insults. She called me a bad mother-in-law, selfish, vengeful. She told me that because of me, they could not pay their bills, that I was ruining their lives. I did not answer a single message. Matthew told me not to, that anything I said could be used against me. Connor tried another strategy. He went to look for me at my house. He arrived on a Saturday morning. I was drinking coffee when he knocked on the door. I opened it. He was pale. He had dark circles under his eyes. Mom, please, we have to talk. I let him in. He sat in the living room. He put his head in his hands. Mom, I made a mistake. I know, but I cannot return all the money right now. I invested it in something that did not go well. I lost a part of it. But if you give me time, I can recover it. I swear to you. I asked him how much he had lost. He took time to answer. About $500,000. I felt the floor move beneath my feet. $500,000? Connor, how is it possible? He rubbed his face. I trusted the wrong person. They promised me quick returns. I wanted to multiply the money to return more to you, to look good in front of you. But I was scammed. I asked him for the rest, for the $1.5 million that remained. He avoided my gaze. It is in different things. We used part of it for the down payment on the apartment. Veronica used part of it on expenses. And part is still in an account. But I cannot take it out right now because it is in a fixed term. I exploded. Expenses? What expenses, Connor? The trips, the clothes, the jewelry. That watch that costs more than 3 months of a teacher's salary. Those are not expenses. That is theft. He raised his voice. I am not stealing from you. It is a loan. I'm going to return it to you. I stood up. I do not believe you anymore, Connor. You had 6 months. You had opportunities. You lied to me again and again. Now you are going to return my money even if I have to take every last dollar you have. Connor stood up too. He looked at me with a mixture of rage and desperation. If you continue with this, Mom, you are going to destroy me. They are going to foreclose on the apartment. Veronica is going to leave me. I am going to be left in ruins. Is that what you want? To destroy your own son? I felt a deep pain in my chest. But I did not back down. What I want is justice. And for Emily to have what I promised her. What my grandmother wanted for us. You decided to betray that trust. Now face the consequences. He left, slamming the door. I stood in the middle of the living room, trembling, crying, but also feeling something new, something I had not felt in months. Strength, determination, dignity. I called Emily. I told her everything. She came immediately. She hugged me tight. I am proud of you, Mom. I know this hurts, but you are doing the right thing. For the first time in a long time, I felt that I was doing the right thing, even if it cost me my own son. The following days were a silent war. Connor hired a lawyer. He tried to prove that the money had been a gift, not a loan. But Matthew had the messages, the conversations where Connor promised to return it, where he specified the 6-month deadline. The judge reviewed everything, and he ruled in my favor in the preliminary hearing. He ordered Connor to present an immediate payment plan or face the total seizure of his assets. Veronica stopped posting on social media. Suddenly, her perfect life disappeared from the internet. Linda, her mother, tried to call me. She wanted to convince me to withdraw the lawsuit. I hung up on her. I had nothing to speak about with her. And then the invitation arrived. A barbecue at Connor's house, a family event. Emily and I looked at each other when we received it. Why are they inviting us now? Emily frowned. I think they want to put on a show. Try to look good in front of everyone, make us look bad. We decided to go, because we no longer had anything to hide, nothing to fear. The day of the barbecue arrived with a bright sun and unbearable heat. Emily picked me up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We rode in silence in the car. I looked out the window, wondering what Connor would be planning. Why invite us just now, in the middle of the legal process? Emily drove with her hands firm on the steering wheel. She was wearing a simple pearl gray dress. I had put on a white blouse and black trousers, nothing flashy, nothing that would give rise to comments. When we arrived at Connor's house, there were already several cars parked outside. I recognized Linda's car, the cars of some cousins, some of Connor's friends. It was a big gathering, too big to be casual. Emily looked at me before getting out. Mom, whatever happens, keep calm. Do not give them the pleasure of seeing you broken. I nodded. I took a deep breath. We got out of the car and walked toward the backyard. The scene was exactly as I had imagined. Tables decorated with cream-colored tablecloths, string lights hanging between the trees, the grill smoking with meat and vegetables, background music, people laughing and chatting. Everything seemed perfect, as if nothing were happening, as if there were not a legal lawsuit in between. Connor saw us arrive. He came toward us with a forced smile. Mom, Emily, so good that you came. Come in, make yourselves comfortable. His tone was cordial but cold, like when you talk to guests you do not want but have to tolerate. Veronica was by the drinks table. She was wearing that emerald green dress I already knew, her hair pulled back in an elegant style, impeccable makeup. She greeted us with a nod, but did not approach. Linda, on the other hand, came straight toward me. Patricia, dear, how long it has been since we have seen each other. We need to talk later calmly. There are things to clarify. I smiled at her coldly. There is nothing to clarify, Linda. Everything is in the hands of the lawyers. She pursed her lips and walked away. Emily and I sat at a table apart. Someone brought us lemonade. I took the glass but did not drink. I watched Connor move among the guests, greeting, laughing, acting like the perfect host, as if his life were not falling apart. Veronica did the same. She smiled. She talked, but I noticed the tension in her shoulders, the way she clenched her jaw when she thought no one was looking at her. They were playing a role, and they were doing it well, but not well enough. An hour passed. We ate in silence. Some relatives approached to greet us. They asked uncomfortable questions. How are you guys? Is everything okay? You can tell there is tension. You know that family is the most important thing, right? Emily answered with courtesy. I just nodded. I did not have the energy to explain anything to them, to defend myself before people who had already taken sides without knowing the full truth. Then it happened. Veronica stood up. She took a glass of wine. She tapped the glass gently with a spoon to call for attention. Everyone turned toward her. The backyard went silent. She smiled. That rehearsed smile she used for photos. Well, family and friends, I want to take this moment to share some wonderful news. Connor and I have been working very hard these last few months, saving, planning our future. And finally we achieved something incredible. She made a dramatic pause. She looked at Connor. He smiled at her, complicit. And then Veronica let out the words that froze my blood. I transferred those $2 million from my mother-in-law to my account. Now I can finally buy my apartment. She raised her glass. Some applauded. Linda shouted excitedly, "My girl did it!" Other guests smiled, confused, not understanding well what was happening. But I understood perfectly. Veronica had just publicly announced that she had taken my money as if it were hers, as if I had given it to her as a gift, as if it were an achievement to be proud of. I felt the air leave my chest. My hands trembled around the glass of lemonade. I looked at Connor. He did not seem uncomfortable. He did not seem ashamed. He smiled, proud of his wife, proud of what they had done. I looked around. Some relatives looked at me with pity. Others avoided my gaze. No one said anything. No one questioned Veronica. No one asked if that was right. And then I looked at Emily. She was motionless. Her face showed no surprise, only a cold rage, deep. She had lived all her life watching how Connor received more attention, more support, more privileges, and now this. The money that was supposed to be for her, announced as a triumph of Veronica's. I saw how she clenched her fists, how her breathing accelerated, and I knew that something was about to explode. Veronica kept talking. She was telling everyone about the apartment, 3 bedrooms, balcony with a view, luxury finishes, exclusive area. She talked about the details as if she were an expert, as if she had worked years to get it. Linda hugged her. "I am so proud of you, daughter. I always knew you would achieve everything you set your mind to." Connor added, "Yes, Veronica is incredible. She knows how to manage money. She knows how to invest. That is why I trusted her with the family savings." Family savings. Those words burned me. They were not savings. It was my inheritance, my grandmother's legacy, Emily's future. And they called it family savings, as if we had all contributed equally, as if we all had the right to use it. I sat there, paralyzed, feeling how the injustice crushed me. And then Emily stood up. Slowly, everyone turned to see her. The backyard went silent again. Veronica stopped talking. Connor frowned. Emily walked toward the center, where Veronica was. She planted herself in front of her. Her voice came out firm, clear, without trembling. "How interesting that you speak of achievements, Veronica. Of hard work, of savings." Veronica looked at her with contempt. "Emily, do not start. Today is a day of celebration." Emily did not back down. "A day of celebration. Sure, you are celebrating that you stole my mother's money. The money that my great-grandmother worked all her life to leave to her family. The money that Mom sold, piece by piece, with a broken heart, to fulfill my dream. And you take it, you spend it, and you announce it as if it were yours." Some guests murmured. Others stayed quiet. Veronica laughed, a nervous laugh. "Emily, you are exaggerating. It was a loan. Your mom lent it to us. With her consent." Emily took a step forward. "A loan that you were supposed to return in 6 months. The deadline already passed. 8 months have passed. Where is the money, Veronica? In your $15,000 watch? In your trips to the beach? In your dinners at luxury restaurants?" Veronica turned pale. Connor intervened. "Emily, enough. This is between Mom and me. Do not get involved." Emily turned toward him. "Of course I am getting involved, Connor. Because that money was for me. Mom promised it to me. And you convinced her to lend it to you. You lied to her. You told her you would return it. And now look. Here is your wife, boasting publicly that she kept everything." Connor raised his voice. "No one kept anything. The money is invested." Emily let out a bitter laugh. "Invested? You lost $500,000 in a scam, and the rest you spent on whims. Do not give me that nonsense." The backyard erupted in murmurs. People began to understand that this was not a simple family argument, that there was something deeper. Linda approached. "Emily, you have no right to speak to my daughter like that. Veronica is a hard-working woman, honest." Emily looked her straight in the eyes. "Honest. Your daughter just announced that she took $2 million that do not belong to her, and you applaud her. Tell me, Linda, is that honesty? Linda did not know how to respond. I remained seated, trembling, wanting to stop everything but also wanting Emily to continue, because she was saying everything I had not dared to say. Veronica tried to regain control. She looked at the guests. Family, excuse this drama. Emily has always been conflictive. She has always been jealous of Connor and me. This is nothing more than envy. Emily took another step. She got so close to Veronica that they almost touched. Envy. Call it whatever you want. But there is something you cannot deny. There is a lawsuit filed. There is a judge who already reviewed the case. And there is a lien on Connor's accounts. So your dream apartment, Veronica, might not be yours for very long. The silence that followed was crushing. No one moved. No one spoke. Everyone looked at Veronica, waiting for her answer. She was pale. The wine glass trembled in her hand. Connor tried to approach Emily, but she raised a hand, stopping him. Do not come near me. You already did enough. You used me. You used Mom. And now you pretend that everyone here believes you are the victim. Connor clenched his jaw. Emily, you are making a scandal over nothing. The money is going to be returned. We just need time. Emily let out a dry laugh. Time. You always need more time, more patience, more understanding. But tell me, Connor, when are you going to return even $1? When are you going to stop lying? He did not answer. He looked away. I stood up. My legs were trembling, but I managed to stand firm. I walked toward where Emily, Connor, and Veronica were. Everyone looked at me. I felt the weight of all those gazes, but I did not care anymore. I spoke with a calm but firm voice. Connor, when you came to ask me for that money, you told me you needed it for 6 months. You promised me that you would invest it in something safe. You told me to trust you. And I did, because you are my son. Because I raised you. Because I thought you would never hurt me. I paused. Connor looked at me with shiny eyes. But I was wrong. Not only did you not return the money, you lost it. You spent it. And now your wife announces it as if it were an achievement. As if stealing from your own mother were something to be proud of. Veronica took a step toward me. I did not steal anything from you, Patricia. You lent us that money voluntarily. No one forced you. I stared at her. You are right. No one forced me. But you lied to me. You manipulated me. You abused my trust, and that is worse than stealing. Because you took something from me that cannot be returned, my peace of mind. My faith in my own son. Linda intervened with a shrill voice. Oh, Patricia, do not be dramatic. Families lend each other money all the time. It is normal. You do not have to make this so complicated. I turned toward her. Linda, if it is so normal, why didn't you lend your $2 million to your daughter? She stayed quiet. Her face turned red. Exactly. Because you know how to take care of your money. But you expected me to sacrifice mine, to put Emily's future at risk. And now you judge me for wanting to recover what is mine. Some guests began to move uncomfortably. Others took out their phones, as if suddenly they had something urgent to check. The tension was unbearable. Connor raised his hands in a gesture of surrender. Okay. Mom, I understand that you are upset. We are going to fix this. I promise you that we are going to return the money. Just give me a little more time. Emily exploded. More time? You already had 8 months. How much more do you need? 10 years? 20? Tell me a number. Connor, tell me when exactly you are going to keep your word. Connor looked at her with rage. I do not have to give explanations to you. This is between Mom and me. Emily crossed her arms. Of course you have to give them to me, because that money was for me. It was for my store, for my future, and you knew it. You knew it perfectly, and yet you convinced Mom to give it to you. You filled her head with promises you never planned to keep. Connor shook his head. I did plan to keep them. Things did not turn out as I expected. Emily took a step toward him. Things never turn out as you expect, Connor, because you do not plan. You just spend. And when you run out, you look for who else to take from. First it was Mom when we were kids. You always needed more. More clothes, more toys, more money for outings. And Mom gave it to you. Even if that meant I had less. I never said anything. I never complained. But this is already too much. This is not just selfishness. This is cruelty." Emily's words resonated in the backyard. Several guests lowered their gaze. I felt tears burning my eyes, because I knew she was right. All my life I had given more to Connor, not because I loved Emily less, but because Connor always asked for more. He always demanded more attention. And I, trying to be a good mother, gave it to him, without realizing that I was being unfair to my daughter. Veronica tried to change the subject. "Well, I think we are all very upset. Why don't we calm down and enjoy the food? We can talk about this in private another day." Emily pointed at her with her finger. "No, we are not going to pretend nothing happened here. You just boasted publicly that you kept my mother's money, in front of all these people. Now you are going to hear the truth, publicly." Veronica raised her voice. "You have no right to judge me. You know nothing about my life, about what I have had to do to get where I am." Emily did not back down. "You are right. I know nothing about your life. But I know what you did with my mother's money. I know you bought a $15,000 watch, that you went on a trip to the beach, that you ate in restaurants where one dish costs more than a normal person's daily wage, all with money that was not yours. And now you pretend that we admire your success." Veronica dropped the glass. It broke on the ground. The wine spread over the paving stones. She was trembling with rage. "You people do not understand anything. Connor and I work hard. We deserve to enjoy life. We are not going to live like poor people just because you like to suffer." I felt a stab in my chest. Live like poor people? That was what she thought of me, of Emily, that we were poor, that we did not deserve the same as her, that our sacrifice was worth nothing. Emily took a step toward Veronica. She stood in front of her with all the dignity in the world. "We do not live like poor people, Veronica. We live with honesty, with work, with dignity. Things you do not know." Connor exploded. "Enough, Emily. I am not going to allow you to speak to my wife like that." Emily turned toward him. "Oh, now you defend her. How convenient. But when Mom asked you to return the money, when she cried because she did not know how to explain to me that I had lost my opportunity, you did not defend her then. You treated her like a nuisance." Connor turned pale. "I never treated Mom badly." Emily let out a bitter laugh. "You kicked her out of your house. You told her she was making a scene. You hung up the phone on her. You did not answer her messages. Is that not treating her badly?" Connor did not know what to say. Several guests murmured among themselves. Some were already getting up to leave. The party was falling apart. Linda tried to save the situation. "Family, please. This is a misunderstanding. We are all nervous. Let's breathe. Let's calm down." Emily ignored her. She kept looking at Connor. "Tell me something, brother. Did you ever think about Mom when you were spending that money? Did you ever think about me? Or did you only think about yourself and Veronica?" Connor clenched his fists. "Of course I thought about you. Everything I did was for this family." Emily shook her head. "No, everything you did was for you, as always. And Mom allowed you to, as always. But this time went too far. This time it is not just about attention or preferences. It is about real money, about a real future. And Mom finally understood that she had to stop you." She looked at me. I nodded with tears in my eyes. "Yes, finally I understood." Emily took my hand. She squeezed it tight. "And I am going to make sure you recover every penny. Because you deserve it, Mom. Because Grandma deserves it. And because I deserve it too." Veronica took a step back. Her face showed fear, panic. She knew she had lost control of the situation, that her perfect image had broken in front of everyone. Connor took her by the arm. "We are going inside. This is over." Emily spoke loudly. "Yes, it is over. The abuse is over. The lies are over. And your access to this family's money is over." Connor and Veronica went into the house, slamming the door. Linda followed him quickly, throwing us looks full of hatred. The guests began to disperse. Some said goodbye in a hurry, avoiding our gazes. Others murmured among themselves, clearly uncomfortable with what they had just witnessed. In less than 10 minutes, the backyard that had been full of people was left almost empty. Only Emily, I, and a couple of distant cousins who did not know whether to leave or stay remained. Emily remained standing, breathing deeply, trying to calm herself. I was trembling, not from fear, not from shame, but from something I had not felt in a long time. Liberation. For the first time in months, someone had told the truth out loud. Someone had defended what was right, and that person had been my daughter. The daughter I had ignored so many times to please Connor. One of the cousins approached timidly. "Patricia, I am very sorry about all this. If you need anything at all, do not hesitate to call me." I thanked him with a gesture. He and his wife left discreetly. Emily looked at me. "Are you okay, Mom?" I nodded, although the tears kept running down my face. "I am okay, daughter. Thank you for defending me." She hugged me tight. "Someone had to do it, and if you couldn't, I would do it for both of us." We stood hugging in the middle of that empty backyard, surrounded by dirty plates and abandoned glasses. The music was still playing from a forgotten speaker. Everything seemed unreal, as if we had been in a play and the curtain had just fallen. I heard footsteps behind us. It was Connor. He was coming out of the house with a distraught face. Veronica was not with him. Surely she was inside crying or planning her next move. Connor stopped a few meters away. "Mom, Emily, we need to talk." This got out of control. Emily let go of my hand and crossed her arms. "No, Connor. This finally got under control. For months you guys were out of control. Spending, lying, manipulating." Connor ran a hand through his hair. He looked tired, defeated. "I did not want things to come to this. I really thought I could return the money. I believed a partner who promised me safe returns. I lost that investment. It was a mistake, but it was not intentional." Emily looked at him with disbelief. "And the rest? The trips? The clothes? The dinners? Veronica's watch? Was that also a mistake?" Connor lowered his gaze. "Veronica needed those things for her work, to maintain a professional image. She works with wealthy people. She has to look a certain way." Emily laughed bitterly. "How convenient. So Mom's money became the fund for Veronica's image. Perfect. I am glad to know that Grandma's inheritance served to buy expensive shoes for your wife." I finally spoke. "Connor, tell me the truth. Is there anything left of the money? Anything you can return right now?" He took time to answer. He avoided my gaze. "There is about $200,000 in an investment account, but it is locked for 6 more months. I cannot touch it before then without losing everything." My heart sank. 200,000 out of 2 million. The rest had disappeared, vaporized in bad decisions and whims. And the apartment? The one Veronica announced with such pride? Connor sighed. "We put down a deposit of $300,000, but we haven't officially bought it yet. We are in the process." Emily spoke with a cutting voice. "Then cancel the purchase. Get that deposit back. And return at least that to Mom." Connor shook his head. "We cannot. If we cancel, we lose the deposit. Those are the developer's rules." Emily exploded. "And what do you prefer? Losing the deposit or losing your mother? Losing an apartment or losing your dignity?" Connor did not answer. I approached him. I looked him in the eyes. "Connor, I raised you alone. I worked double shifts when your dad died, so you would lack nothing. I paid for your college. I supported you in every decision. And when I needed you to return a favor, you failed me. Worse yet, you treated me as if I were the problem." His voice came out broken. "Mom, I am sorry. Really, I am sorry." I shook my head. "Your apologies are of no use to me anymore. Connor, I need actions. I need you to return the money, even if it is little by little, even if it takes years. But I need to see that you are trying. Do you care?" He nodded. "I am going to do it, Mom. I swear to you. I am going to sell the car. I am going to cancel the apartment. I am going to do whatever is necessary." Emily intervened. "You already said that before. We do not believe you anymore. That is why there is the legal process. That is why there is a lien. Because your promises are worth nothing." Connor looked at her with pain. "Do you really hate me that much, Emily?" She held his gaze. "I do not hate you, Connor. I pity you. Because you have everything to be a good man, and you decide to be this. A liar, a manipulator, someone who steals from his own mother." At that moment, Veronica came out of the house. Her face was stained with mascara, her eyes red. but her voice was still hard. "You are destroying this family. You are ruining our lives for money." Emily turned toward her. "No, Veronica, you ruined this family when you decided to take what was not yours, when you convinced Connor that it was okay to steal from his mother, when you distanced him from us so he would only listen to you." Veronica pointed with her finger. "I did not distance anyone. Connor is an adult. He makes his own decisions." Emily took a step toward her. "Then let him assume the consequences of those decisions. Let him face the lien. Let him lose the apartment. Let him lose everything he bought with stolen money. And let him learn, once and for all, that actions have consequences." Veronica trembled with rage. "This is not going to stay like this. I am going to fight. I am going to prove that you are abusive, that you are using the law to get revenge." I spoke with a firm voice. "It is not revenge, Veronica. It is justice. And if you want to fight, go ahead. But you are going to lose, because the truth is on our side." Veronica looked at Connor, seeking support. He said nothing. He just looked at the ground, defeated. She let out a scream of frustration and went back into the house. Linda appeared at the door. She looked at us with contempt. "You are going to regret this. My daughter does not deserve this treatment." Emily confronted her. "Your daughter is a thief, and you raised her to believe it is okay to take what does not belong to her. So do not come giving us moral lessons." Linda went inside, slamming the door too. The backyard went silent again. Only Connor, Emily, and I were there. Connor looked up. He had tears in his eyes. "Are you really going to continue with the lawsuit? Until the end?" I nodded. "Until you return every penny. Or until the judge decides what happens with your assets." He nodded slowly. "I understand. I guess I deserve it." Emily spoke softer this time. "Yes, you deserve it. But you still have time to do the right thing, to stop protecting Veronica and start protecting your real family." "Mom, me." Connor looked at both of us. Then he turned around and went into the house without saying anything else. Emily and I stayed standing there a few more minutes. Then she took my hand. "Let's go. Mom, we have nothing left to do here." We walked toward the car. I turned back one last time toward the house where my son lived with the woman who had turned him into someone I did not recognize, the house they had bought with dreams built on lies. We got into the car. Emily started the engine. As we drove away, I felt something strange. It was not sadness, it was not rage, it was peace. A peace I had not felt in months. Because finally I had said enough. Finally I had chosen justice over guilt. And finally I had seen my daughter for who she really was. A strong woman, brave, honest. Everything Connor had ceased to be. Emily looked at me sideways while driving. "What are you thinking about, Mom?" I smiled at her through the tears. "I am thinking that I should have listened to you from the beginning. I am thinking that I should have defended you more when we were all younger. And I am thinking that, despite everything, I did something right. Because I have you." She squeezed my hand. "You are always going to have me, Mom. Whatever happens. And I am going to make sure you recover what is yours. I promise you." The days that followed the barbecue were strange. I felt lighter but also sadder. Lighter because I had finally confronted the truth. Sadder because that truth meant that my relationship with Connor was broken, perhaps forever. Emily stayed with me that week. She slept in the guest room and kept me company during the afternoons. We cooked together, we watched movies, we talked about simple things. She did not mention Connor unless I brought up the topic, and I tried not to do it, but it was impossible not to think about him. About the boy he had been, about the man he had become, about how he had allowed Veronica to transform him into someone capable of betraying his own family. One night, while we were drinking tea in the living room, I asked Emily something that had been eating me up inside. "Do you think I am a bad mother for doing this? For suing him?" She put her cup on the table and looked at me seriously. "Mom, you are a bad mother if you do not do it. Because you would be teaching him that he can do whatever he wants without consequences. You would be telling him that it is okay to steal. It is okay to lie. It is okay to hurt the people who love you. Doing this does not make you a bad mother. It makes you a mother who finally sets boundaries." Her words gave me strength. The next day, I called Matthew, my lawyer. I told him what had happened at the barbecue. He listened attentively and then said something that surprised me. Patricia, what Veronica did, announcing publicly that she took the money, favors us. It is an admission. We can use that in the case. I asked him how. He explained, if we have witnesses who heard her statement, we can present them. That reinforces our position that they took the money consciously and without intention of returning it. I gave him the names of some cousins who were present. Matthew said he would get in touch with them. Meanwhile, the lien remained active. Connor could not move large amounts of money without court authorization. That had him desperate. I knew because he started calling me again. At first I did not answer him, but one afternoon I gathered courage and answered. His voice sounded tired, defeated. Mom, I need to talk to you. In person, please. I told him no, that everything had to go through the lawyers. He insisted. I just want to see you. I need to explain some things to you. I looked at Emily. She shook her head. Do not go alone. If you go, I am going with you. I accepted on one condition. We would meet in a public place, a coffee shop, not at his house, not at mine. Neutral ground. We agreed to meet 2 days later. Emily accompanied me. We arrived before him. We sat at a table near the window. I ordered a coffee I had no intention of drinking. Emily ordered water. We waited in silence. 10 minutes later, Connor arrived. He came alone, without Veronica. That surprised me. He looked gaunt. He had lost weight. He had deep circles under his eyes. He sat across from us without saying hello. He looked at his hand on the table, as if he did not know what to do with it. Thanks for coming, Mom. I nodded without saying anything. He took a deep breath before speaking. I have been thinking a lot. About everything. About what I did. About how I treated you guys. And you are right. I messed everything up. Emily interrupted him with a cold voice. We did not come to hear apologies. Connor, we came to hear solutions. He looked at her. Then he looked at me. I sold my car. They gave me $80,000 for it. It is less than I expected, but it is what I could get. I want to give it to Mom. As a first payment. I felt something stir in my chest. It was a first step. Small, but it was something. However, Emily did not soften. 80,000 out of 2 million. Still missing 1,920,000. And the rest? Connor rubbed his face. I canceled the purchase of the apartment. We lost the $300,000 deposit, but it was necessary. Veronica is furious with me. She barely speaks to me. But I understood that I could not continue with that purchase while I owed you this. Emily leaned forward. And the $200,000 that you said were in the locked investment? Connor nodded. They are still there. But I cannot touch them for 5 months. If I withdraw them sooner, I lose everything. I can show you the documents if you want. He took out his phone and showed us screenshots of an investment account. Effectively, there were $200,000. I looked at the numbers not knowing what to feel. That added up to $280,000. There was still more than $1 million missing. I asked him for the rest, for what had been spent. He lowered his gaze. Mom, of that $1.5 million, I lost $500,000 in the investment scam I told you about. Veronica spent about $400,000 on clothes, jewelry, trips, the watch. I spent about $200,000 on furniture for the house, the new television, some personal debts I had, and the rest went to day-to-day expenses that we did not keep track of. Eating out, outings, things that in the moment did not seem like much, but added up were a lot of money. Emily shook her head with disbelief. $1,100,000 disappeared. In less than 8 months, do you have any idea what that means? That is more than a normal person spends in 10 years. Connor had tears in his eyes. I know. I was an idiot. I got carried away. Veronica told me we deserved to enjoy ourselves, that life is short, that later we would return everything with the investment. And I believed her. I wanted to believe her, because I liked that life. I liked feeling successful, important, but now I understand that none of that was real. It was just an illusion bought with your money. I felt sorry for him, but also rage, because those tears arrived late, very late. Emily spoke with a hard voice. And Veronica? What does she say about all this? Connor sighed. She says it is your fault, Emily, that you manipulated Mom to sue me, that you have always been jealous of us, that this is your revenge. Emily laughed humorlessly. Of course. She is never going to accept responsibility. It is easier to blame me. Connor looked at her. But I know that is not the case. I know the fault is mine. And Veronica's too. She spent a lot. She took advantage. And I let her. Because I was afraid to confront her. I was afraid she would get angry. That she would leave me. Emily stared at him. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to continue letting her manipulate you? Or are you going to take control of your life? Connor did not answer immediately. Finally, he said, I am thinking about separating from her. The silence at the table was absolute. I looked at him surprised. What? He nodded. I cannot go on like this. Every day that passes, I realize that Veronica is not the person I thought. She does not care about me. She does not care about this family. She only cares about money, status, image. And I was so blind that I did not see it until now. Emily crossed her arms. Well, I congratulate you for realizing it. Although late, Connor continued. I know it does not change anything. I know I still owe you the money. But I want you to know that I am trying to fix things. To be better. To be the son you deserved. Mom, I felt a knot in my throat. I wanted to believe him. God knows I wanted to believe him. But Emily was right. Words were not enough. We needed actions. I told him. Connor, I appreciate you coming to tell us this. I appreciate that you sold the car. But I need more than that. I need a plan. Dates, amounts. I need to know when and how you are going to pay me back the rest. He nodded. I spoke with my boss. I am going to take a second job. Freelance. Nights and weekends. I can generate about $5,000 extra a month. I am going to give them to you in full. Without fail, Emily asked. And Veronica? Is she going to contribute? Connor hesitated. I do not know. Probably not. She says the money she earns is hers, that she did not sign anything. Emily let out a bitter laugh. How convenient. I did quick math in my head. 80,000 from the car, 200,000 from the investment in 5 months, and 5,000 monthly from extra work. In a year, that would be $340,000. There would still be more than 1,500,000 missing. I told this to Connor. He looked devastated. I know, Mom. I know it is not enough. But it is the only thing I can do right now. If you let me work without the lien, I can generate more. I can look for bigger projects. But with the accounts locked, many companies do not want to hire me. Emily intervened. You should have thought about that before spending, before lying. Connor nodded, defeated. You are right. I looked at Emily. She looked back at me. There was something in her eyes. A silent question. What do we do? I told Connor. I am going to talk to my lawyer. If you really transfer those 80,000 to me this week, if you show me proof of the second job, if I see that you are making a real effort, maybe we can reach an agreement. A legally supervised payment plan. But if you miss a single payment, if you lie one more time, we continue until the end. Until we seize everything. His eyes filled with hope. Really, Mom? I nodded. Really. But this is your last chance, Connor. There will not be another. He stood up and wanted to hug me. I raised a hand, stopping him. Not yet. First show me that you can deliver. Then we talk about hugs. Connor complied with the first part. 3 days after our meeting at the coffee shop, I received a transfer of $80,000. Matthew, my lawyer, verified it. The money was clean. It came from the sale of the car. It was real. Emily and I looked at each other when we received the confirmation. It was a small relief, but significant. At least we had something tangible. Proof that Connor was trying. Matthew prepared a supervised payment agreement. Connor had to transfer $5,000 to me every month without fail. Additionally, when the investment was released in 5 months, the full $200,000 would go straight to my account. If a single payment was missed, the legal process would continue with all its weight. Connor signed the agreement without protesting. Veronica refused to sign anything. She insisted that the money had not been hers, that everything had been Connor's decision, that she had no legal responsibility. Matthew said that did not matter, that since they were married, Their assets were communal. If Connor could not pay, the assets of both would respond. That made her furious. But there was nothing she could do. The first 2 months, Connor complied. On the 15th day of each month, I received the $5,000, without delay, without excuses. Emily remained skeptical. "Mom, 2 months is nothing. Let's wait to see if he lasts 6, if he lasts a year." I knew she was right. But a part of me wanted to believe that Connor had changed, that finally he had understood. One afternoon, Connor called me. He sounded tired, but also somewhat different, calmer. "Mom, I need to tell you something. Veronica and I are getting divorced, officially." I already spoke with a lawyer. I felt a mixture of emotions, sadness for him, relief too. I asked him how he was. He sighed. "Honestly, I am exhausted. I work all day at my normal job. Then I get home and work on freelance projects until midnight. I barely sleep, but I need it. I need to show you that I can do it." I told him he did not have to kill himself working, that we could adjust the plan if necessary. He refused. "No, Mom, this is the minimum I can do. I destroyed your trust. I destroyed Emily's dream. This is the least I deserve." I remained quiet. I did not know what to say. I had waited so long to hear those words, to see that real regret. And now that I had it, I did not know how to process it. Emily, meanwhile, had begun to move forward with her boutique. With the $80,000 Connor had returned, we were able to at least start something small. It was not the big store we had dreamed of, but it was a start. We rented a modest space in a good area. Emily designed every detail. We painted the walls ivory, we put up large mirrors, wooden hangers, warm lighting. She brought the pieces she had been designing for years. Dresses, blouses, skirts, all handmade, with love, with talent. The day we opened, I cried. I cried because finally we were fulfilling that promise, even if it was halfway, even if it had cost so much pain. Emily hugged me. "Mom, we did it. Despite everything, we did it." The first clients began to arrive. Little by little, the boutique was not an immediate success, but it had potential. Emily worked tirelessly. I helped her when I could, attending to clients, organizing inventory, learning about social media to promote the business. It was exhausting, but it was also healing. Every day in that store was a reminder of why it had been worth fighting. Connor came to visit the boutique one Saturday afternoon. He arrived without warning. Emily was attending to a client when he entered. She tensed up but said nothing. I was at the register. I watched him look around. His eyes scanned every detail, the dresses, the lights, the sign with the name Emily had chosen. He approached me shyly. "Mom, this turned out beautiful. Emily has a lot of talent." I nodded. She always had it. She just needed a chance. He lowered his gaze. A chance that I almost ruined. I did not answer. I did not need to. We both knew it was true. When the client left, Emily approached. She looked at Connor with a mixture of mistrust and exhaustion. "What are you doing here?" He put his hands in his pockets. "I came to see the store, and to apologize to you, formally." Emily crossed her arms. "You already apologized. Several times." Connor shook his head. "Not like I should have. Emily, all my life I made you less. Since we were kids, I always demanded more attention, more resources. And Mom gave them to me. Not because she did not love you, but because I was louder, more demanding. And you were quieter, more patient. I took advantage of that. And when I had the opportunity to help you, to support you, I betrayed you. I took the money that was for you and wasted it. There is no excuse for that." Emily listened to him in silence. Her eyes filled with tears, but she did not let them fall. "You are right. There is no excuse. But at least now you recognize it." Connor took a step forward. "I know I cannot turn back time. I know this place should be bigger. It should have everything you dreamed of. But I am going to do everything possible so that one day it is. I am going to keep paying Mom. And when I finish paying her, I am going to keep saving. To give you what I took from you." Emily shook her head. "I do not want your money, Connor. Not later. What I want is for you to be a better man. For you to be honest. for you to stop allowing people to use you, for you to learn to say no when something is wrong. He nodded. I am working on that. For the first time in my life, I am working on me. They stood looking at each other for a few seconds. Then Emily extended her hand. Connor took it. They did not hug. They did not smile. But something had moved between them. Something small, fragile, but real. I watched them from the register with a tight heart. This was my family. Broken, hurt, but still there, still trying. 4 more months passed. Connor kept complying with the payments. $5,000 every month, like a clock. Never late, never with excuses. He also sent photos of his freelance projects, payment receipts. He wanted us to see that it was real, that he was not lying. Veronica, on the other hand, had disappeared from our lives. The divorce was in process. Connor told me that she had gotten a job in another city, that she had moved without saying goodbye, that she blamed him for everything, for the loss of the apartment, for the loss of her lifestyle, for having betrayed her by returning the money to me. Linda had also stopped contacting us. I suppose she had nothing to gain by staying close. Her daughter no longer had access to our family, to our resources, so she simply left. It was strange. After so much drama, so much tension, suddenly everything was silence. But it was a calm silence, not threatening, just empty. The boutique started to grow. Emily got a local influencer to wear one of her dresses. The post went viral on social media. Suddenly we had orders from all over the city. Emily had to hire help, a seamstress, a girl to tend the store while she designed. I kept going every day. I loved being there, seeing how my daughter's dream came true little by little. One day, while we were organizing a shipment, Emily said to me, "Mom, do you know what is the craziest thing about all this? That in the end, what Connor and Veronica did to us made us stronger. It forced us to fight, to value what we have. And now look, we are here, building something real, something no one can take from us." I hugged her. She was right. The pain had had a purpose. It did not justify it, but it gave it meaning. We had lost money, we had lost time, but we had gained something more valuable: dignity, self-respect, and a mother-daughter relationship stronger than ever. Month 5 arrived, the month when Connor's investment was released. $200,000 that were to be transferred to my account. Matthew was pending on every step of the process. Connor complied. On the exact day, the money arrived in full. With that, we had already accumulated $305,000 returned. There was still more than $1 million missing, but it was progress. It was hope. That night, Connor invited us to dinner, just Emily and me. We went to a simple restaurant. Nothing luxurious, nothing pretentious. We ate in relative silence at first. Then Connor spoke. "I want you to know that I am not going to stop. I am going to keep working. I am going to keep paying. Even if it takes 10 years, even if it takes 20, I am going to return everything to you." Emily looked at him. "You no longer need to convince us with words. Connor, just keep doing it." He nodded. "I will. And I also want you to know that I am grateful for not giving up on me, for forcing me to face what I did. Because if you had not done it, I would still be that person, that man who failed you." I took his hand across the table. "It still hurts, Connor. It is still hard for me to trust. But I see your effort, and that counts." He squeezed my hand. "I know, Mom, and I am going to keep earning that trust, day by day, until you believe in me again." A full year passed since that barbecue. A year since Veronica announced with pride that she had taken my money. A year since Emily stood up and defended what was right. Many things had changed. Emily's boutique now had 3 employees. We had expanded the store. We had a presence on social media with thousands of followers. Emily's pieces were sold not only in the city but across the country. She had achieved what she always dreamed. And she had done it with her own effort, with her talent, with her perseverance. I watched her work every day and felt a pride that did not fit in my chest. This was my daughter, the one who had waited in silence for years, the one who never complained, the one who had finally received what she deserved, not in the way we planned, not with the full $2 million, but in a more authentic way, more valuable. Because she had built it herself, Connor kept complying with the payments, $5,000 every month without fail. In a year, he had accumulated $60,000 more. Added to the previous ones, we had already recovered $365,000. There was still a lot missing, more than $1,600,000, but he did not give up. He had lost weight. He had more gray hair. He looked tired all the time, but he also looked different, more humble, more conscious. He visited me once a month, always on Saturday afternoons. We drank coffee. We talked about simple things, about work, about the weather, about Emily's boutique. We never talked about Veronica. She was a closed chapter. The divorce had been finalized 6 months ago. Connor told me that she had married again, to someone with more money, someone who could maintain the lifestyle she wanted. I felt nothing when he told me, neither rage nor satisfaction, only indifference. Veronica no longer mattered. She had never really mattered. She was just a symbol of everything that had been wrong in Connor's life, and now that she was gone, he could finally work on being better. One Saturday afternoon, while we were at the boutique, an older woman entered, elegant, well-dressed. She looked at the dresses with attention. Emily approached to assist her. The woman asked for several pieces. She wanted something special for her granddaughter's birthday. Emily showed her options. She explained the designs. The woman listened with genuine interest. In the end, she bought 3 dresses. While I processed the payment, she looked at me and smiled. "Your daughter has a lot of talent. These pieces are beautiful, unique." I thanked her. "Emily is incredible. She has worked very hard to get here." The woman nodded. "It shows. Work done with love always shows. May God bless you both." She left, leaving a warm feeling in the air. Emily looked at me. "Did you see that, Mom? This is real. This is ours. And no one can take it from us." I hugged her tight. "You are right, my love. This is yours. You earned it." That night, while we were closing the store, Emily asked me something that took me by surprise. "Mom, did you forgive Connor?" I stayed quiet a moment, thinking, trying to find the true answer. "I do not know," I told her finally. "There are days when I feel like I do, that I understand he made a mistake, that he is trying to amend it. But there are other days when I remember all the pain, the humiliation, the betrayal, and I feel that that wound is never going to close completely." Emily nodded. "I understand. I feel the same. There are days when I see Connor, and I think that maybe we can have a normal relationship one day. And there are days when I see him, and I only remember everything he took from us." We stayed in silence. Then she added, "But I think it is okay like this. We do not have to forgive completely. We do not have to forget. We just have to decide how we want to move forward." And I decided that I want to move forward with peace, not with resentment, but not with naivety either. Her words resonated in me. She was right. Forgiveness was not black or white. It was not something you gave completely or did not give at all. It was something you were building, little by little, with time, with actions, with proofs. 2 months later, I received a call from Matthew. "Patricia, I have news. Connor just made a large transfer, $50,000. He says he got a special project, that he wants to accelerate the payment process." My heart skipped a beat. $50,000. At once. That was not in the plan. I called Connor. He answered on the second ring. "Mom, did you hear?" I asked him where he had gotten that money. He explained. "I got a big contract. A company hired me for a 6-month project. They paid me in advance, and I decided to give it to you in full. I know there is still a lot missing, but I want you to see that I mean it, that I am not going to stop." I felt tears in my eyes. "Thank you, Connor." He stayed quiet a moment. Then he said something that broke my heart in a different way. "Mom, I know that maybe you will never forgive me completely, and that is okay. I deserve it. But I want you to know that every day I wake up thinking about how I can be better, how I can compensate even a little for the damage I caused. Not so that you forgive me, but because it is the right thing, because it is what I should have done from the beginning." I hung up the phone and cried. I cried for everything we had lost, for all the wasted time, for the mother and son relationship that would never be the same. But I also cried with relief, Because finally, after so much pain, I saw hope. I saw real change. Not words, not empty promises, but concrete actions, true sacrifice. Emily came to my house that night. I told her about the transfer. She stayed thoughtful. Then she said, "Mom, I think Connor finally understood, not only what he did wrong, but why it was wrong. And that is more than many people achieve." I asked her if she had forgiven him. She shook her head. "Not completely. But I am no longer angry all the time. I no longer think of revenge. I only think of my life, of my store, of you, of building something good. And if Connor wants to be part of that one day, maybe. But he has to keep proving that he deserves to be there." It made sense. It was fair. It was realistic. It was healthy. The months kept passing. Connor continued with the monthly payments. 5,000, without fail. From time to time, he made extra transfers when he got additional projects. After 2 years, we had recovered $600,000. There was still more than $1 million missing. But the path was clear. Matthew calculated that if Connor maintained the pace, in 8 more years, we would have the total. 8 years. It was a long time. I would already be 73 years old. But it was something. It was justice. It was real consequences for real actions. And Connor accepted it. Without complaining. Without looking for shortcuts. Just working. Day after day. Emily's boutique kept growing. She had opened a second location. She was planning a third. I no longer worked there every day. I had officially retired. But I visited often. I liked seeing what my daughter had built. What she had achieved, despite everything. One Sunday, Connor invited me to lunch. Just the two of us. We went to a small restaurant I liked. We ate calmly. We talked about everyday things. At the end, when they brought the coffee, Connor looked at me seriously. "Mom, I want to tell you something. I have been thinking a lot. About everything that happened. About the person I was. And I realized something." I paused, waiting. He continued. "Veronica did not turn me into someone bad. I already had that in me. The tendency to be selfish, to think only about what I wanted, to justify anything in order to get it. Veronica just brought to light what was already there. And if it hadn't been her, eventually it would have been someone else. Or it would have been me alone." I looked at him surprised. That was a difficult truth to accept, but it was true. He lowered his gaze. "So I want to thank you for not allowing me to continue being that person, for setting boundaries, for demanding that I face the consequences. Because if you hadn't done it, today I would be worse. I would be more lost, lonelier, emptier." I took his hand across the table. "Connor, I am going to tell you something I have never told you. I am proud of you, not of what you did, but of how you are responding, of how you are changing. That takes courage, and you are doing it." His eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Mom. That means more than you imagine." We left the restaurant and walked for a while through the nearby park. The sun was going down. The sky was painted in orange and pink colors. We sat on a bench. Connor talked about his plans, about the projects he had, about how he wanted to keep growing professionally, not to earn more money for him, but to be able to pay me back faster what he owed. I listened to him feeling a mixture of emotions, sadness for everything we had lost, but also something similar to peace. This was not the happy ending of a fairy tale. We had not recovered all the money. We had not erased the pain. The relationship between Connor and me would never be the same as before. That innocence had been lost forever, but we had found something different, something more mature, more honest. A relationship based not on the blindness of unconditional maternal love, but on respect earned with effort, on trust rebuilt brick by brick. When I arrived home that night, I sat in my living room. I looked at the photos on the wall. My grandmother, my children when they were little, Emily at the grand opening of her boutique. I thought about the whole journey traveled, about the difficult decisions, about the tears shed, about the battles fought. And I realized something. I did not regret it. I did not regret having trusted Connor at the beginning. Because that is how I am. That is how I was raised. I did not regret having sued him later, because it was the right thing. And I did not regret giving him this opportunity to redeem himself. Because we all deserve the possibility to change, to be better. as long as we are willing to pay the price for our mistakes. Connor was paying that price. And I was learning that a mother's love does not mean allowing everything. It means demanding the best, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. That night I slept peacefully. For the first time in years, I slept without that weight on my chest, without that oppression. Because finally I had found something I had lost a long time ago. My dignity, my peace, and the certainty that I did the right thing, not just for me, but for my daughter, for my grandmother, and yes, also for Connor, because sometimes the greatest love is saying no.